The steep, rugged mountainsides and wooden buildings have made fire the worst enemy of Eureka Springs. Between 1883 and 1892, 4 great fires destroyed most of the early wooden buildings in Eureka Springs. After that, new laws decreed that commercial construction in the core of downtown had to be made of fireproof materials, laws that are still enforced today. Although this part of Main Street was never densely populated with homes and businesses as other parts of town, it too has seen the devastation of fire. The fire of 1888 devastated this section of Main Street. The small building in the center is the original jail, still there, although not a jail, with a fire bell on top. The bell could provide a warning, but fighting the fire was up to individual citizens and later the volunteer fire department. In the early days, water tanks and towers were filled with spring water and scattered throughout the town for firefighting. In her book, Early Days in Eureka Springs, Nellie Mills describes the helplessness of battling blazes. I saw the Grand Central burn. There was a little house across the street that leads across Little Eureka Hollow. It was the home of the German family, 2 of whose children, a boy and a girl, were in my school. As the heat grew greater from the flames that enveloped the Grand Central, Mr. German was throwing water over the front of his house. Men standing by watching the mounting blaze said to him, "It's no use, Tom." To me, that seemed a heartless advice to a man who was trying to save his home. I thought, with youthful indignation, why don't they help him? Fire continued to be a disaster feared in Eureka Springs. Across Main Street, there is a fine stone stairway and walls on the hillside. This once led to the porches of the Landacre Hotel, built in 1892, and burned almost 100 years later in the 1980s. North Main had fewer lodgings than Spring Street, and this was an important one. Ads proudly proclaimed it as the best $1 a day house in the city. But not all buildings in this part of Main Street were lost to fire. Across the street, the Gadd home still stands. It was built in 1880 by John and Eva Morrison Gadd as a residence and boarding house next to this healing spring. In 1892, they also built a limestone building between their home and a spring and opened a general store, Gadd's Grocery. Through the years, this working-class block offered the red front wagon yard stretching across several lots, a second-hand store, carpenter shop, a cobbler, feed and hay store, wagon shed, and the Eureka Springs machine shop. The adjacent spring was deeded to the city in 1900. In the 1920s, it was covered with a round rock structure which housed an ultraviolet sanitizing system and then a modern way to clean spring water. The limestone building is gone, but Gadd Spring still flows inside the shop located in what was the Gadd home.